All right, yo, what up? It's your boy Corey Parson, the fantasy executive, my man Justin Henry. Welcome to Arch Rivals. Coming up on the little program today, NBA talk, some NFL talk, Kyrie Irving, Russell Westbrook, Joel Embiid, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of stuff going on, my good brother, Mr. Henry. What's shaking?
You know, I'm out here in Sacramento, and Corey, you've been spending the last month or so talking a lot of shit about this team out here in Sacramento. They in the playoffs, man. It's about to go crazy. All the fans are coming out the woodworks, bro. I'm sure we'll get into it, but a lot of good things, man. You called us a little show. It's a big show for us, bro.
Yeah, everything's a big show. You know what I'm saying? So I like it. I love it. And let's discuss these Sacramento Kings right now, sitting at the third seed in the Western Conference. 46 wins, got an X by their name in the standings. That means that they are a playoff team. And listen, congratulations. I know what all the talk about Webb Mignogna and stuff like that. The first half of the year, the tank show. Sacramento came out early and said, nah, we don't want to be a part of that. We want to be a player. We want to at least be in contention to be in the play-in tournament. Don't have to worry about the play-in tournament. They are a solid, legit playoff team. Hey, listen, big trading Halliburton last year, putting the pieces together. But really, the addition of Malik Monk and Mike Brown being the head coach is why this team is as successful as they are right now.
Shout out to Monty McNair, the name that not a lot of people will drop. Everybody's going to talk about Malik Monk, talk about the development of Keegan Murray. They're going to talk about Kevin Huerter and the way that he shot the ball this year. They're going to talk about the development of De'Aaron Fox and the rise of Domas Sabonis. But guess what? This is Monty McNair putting his thumbprint on all over this team. The hire of Mike Brown, the trades that this team have made, the signings they have made, the draft picks for years have haunted the Sacramento Kings franchise, and they have hit. Tyrese Halliburton, Davion Mitchell, Keegan Murray. The G League team is nasty. Like, shout out to Monty McNair. He's not going to get enough credit for this. I hope he wins GM of the year. But this organization has his fingerprints all over it. The Kings are back, man. And, you know, I think I was ready to write them off early in the season. I was like, they're going to fall back. They're going to go back to the lower half of the Western Conference standings. But they never did. They never did. It was one of those things where they proved everybody wrong.
As the All-Star break, they were plus 400 to win that division. You know what I'm saying? They finished strong. They're going to get it done. Listen, but let's not get carried away, because when you are in a small market, right, maybe the NBA's smallest market, you got to start to pay these people. What are you going to do when De'Aaron Fox wants this money? You know what I'm saying? What are you going to do when Malik Monk? You know what I mean? Listen, the roster is not stretched out of proportion right now, but listen, when you are in Sacramento, finances can be a thing. This is a team that ain't been to the playoffs since the Lakers was cheating them back in the day. You know what I'm saying? You may not want to discuss that being a Lakers fan.
That's a win.
The Lakers was cheating them back in
a win is a win.
When the Lakers and the NBA cheated them, that Sacramento Kings team, probably the best team to never win a championship outside of the 2007 New England Patriots. But the bottom line of the matter is this: can they sustain it long term? Number one, and number two, can they get out the first round? Because right now the matchup's against the Golden State Warriors, and it would be bye-bye.
Oh, you've been saying that about every single team that you're talking about matching up with them. The Warriors got their own issues, but this Kings team, man, I'm not sure it's set up for long-term success because this team rarely holds free agents there for a long period of time. But the reason I think that it might be is because the main trio of this team is going to be intact. De'Aaron Fox has a contract. Sabonis has a contract. Keegan Murray is a rookie, so he's with the team for a while. Davion Mitchell's a second-year player, so he's with the team for a while. The framework is there. Kevin Huerter just signed a contract with the Kings. Like, a lot of these major pieces aren't going anywhere for the next 2-3 seasons. Now, do I think that they had a very lucky season? No major injuries. Played well. The rest of the West dealt with so many injuries. I'm not sure they'll stay at the top 3 of the division long term. But this year, Corey, the home crowd is back. They're playing at an elite level. They're winning in clutch situations. Best offensive team in the league. I think Sacramento.
It's still the regular season, bro. It's still the regular season. I'm a show me guy. Show me when it's time to turn the lights on. When they cut the lights on, and it's one game that night, and you're playing, and everybody's watching you, and you got to go into the Chase Center, and those banners are hanging in the rafters, and it's the fourth quarter, and you got Draymond Green breathing down your neck. That's a different ball game right there.
As a coach, you know, seven-game series, Corey. You know it's a 7-game series, right? And there's somebody with a little bit of intel. Be in a moment when they're going to be in the Chase Center. In that locker room, that Kings locker room, with just a little bit of intel on how that team works, and that's Mike Brown. So that might be the worst series. I know Draymond was talking about, we want to see Sacramento for the travel, and yeah, that meant because he thinks he can beat them. But Mike Brown knows that team very, very well.
Going to be interesting. I do hope that is the matchup more so than I hope Grizzlies Warriors. I would like to see Kings and I would like to see Kings and Warriors.
Yeah.
And then the
Warriors. Go to a game. If it's Kings Warriors, I'm gonna go to a game.
I may come out there and join you. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I'm always down for a good NBA playoff road trip. Speaking of the Sacramento Kings, trade they made last season, you know, where they sent Halliburton to Indiana, they got Sabonis back, the major pieces in the deal and stuff like that. Now, you can look at the Indiana Pacers, who are right now, they're not going to be in the play-in tournament. They're not going to be in the playoffs. But there were stretches this season, like the Pacers are tanking. There were stretches this season where you saw this Pacer team was flirting around the top 4 in the Eastern Conference or the top 6 in the Eastern Conference. If the Pacers are not in tank mode, to me, they're better than Atlanta. They're better than Washington. They might be better than Brooklyn and Miami. This Pacer team is put together. It's just, okay, if they get a chance to get those right lottery balls, ping pong balls, they're going to go for that. But, you know, it's not time to strike yet. But this has been a good trade for the Pacers as well.
It's a young team, you know, and so we saw, like, for the Kings, I think obviously it worked out their top 3 team in the West. But for this Pacer team, you get one of the better young players. He had an all-star year.
The best player in that trade is Tyrese Halliburton.
Best player in the deal. And so I think the Kings, maybe they took a little bit of a sacrifice, a little bit of a hit there, but it's going to work out for them in the long run. They made the playoffs. They needed the immediate success. But long term, I still think there's a chance we could see this Pacer team having the better end of this deal. Now, I know Buddy Hield is out of there. He's going to be gone out of there this year because they're doing the youth movement.
My God.
But Halliburton is carrying his team. And before he got hurt right there after the All-Star game, he missed a couple weeks. This team was right there firmly in the play-in tournament and would have been a playoff team. So, yeah, they went to the tank route, but Halliburton has future-like potential MVP-type caliber talent. Like, that's the type of player I think he is. Sabonis,
and if the ping-pong balls go the right way and they get one of the top players in this upcoming draft, then you're going to see a resurgence in pace of basketball. So, I like to see a trade that works out well for both ends, and I definitely think that is what we have here. We're talking about the Golden State Warriors earlier. And they're starting to rev up and warm up and get ready for the playoffs. And you know how you can tell? Because Draymond Green is losing his effing mind. You know what I'm saying? Bro. And listen, say what you want to say about Draymond Green. His season starts assaulting a teammate. You know what I'm saying? Now you see he's working on his 30th and 40th technicals of the year, whatever the case may be. But in that matchup earlier against the Pelicans, you really see him start to get into that playoff Draymond role, that leader on this team, that heart and soul of this team, that NBA goon, that NBA tough guy. The Kings don't have nobody like Draymond Green. And Draymond is getting warmed up. He's going to be putting elbows in people's chests, or they're going to be able to stand up to it.
Now, Draymond, man, it seems like this year more so than any year, people are testing Draymond. I don't know if it's because of that podcast. He's always running his mouth on the podcast, which I ain't mad at if you can go back it up. And it seems like he's trying to elevate his level of play right now. So a little shoulder to Brandon Ingram and a little chirping back and forth. I don't mind that. Now, the part I'm wondering is this going to affect Draymond? Because I think teams will start targeting that. It'll be easy to get under Draymond's skin, especially if he's in super aggressive mode, playoff mode. We saw Bob Myers had to calm his ass down. Like he was kind of off the leash there for a second. And you know what? I also don't get the refs seem to be to hold their whistle. Why are they giving him so much of a leash?
They hold their whistle on Drake. It's a part of it. This guy's a 4-time NBA champion. That's why
you turn the wrong way.
He's a 4-time NBA champion.
That don't make sense.
That's the bottom line.
You turn the wrong way.
He played with Steph Curry.
You turn the way. Like it doesn't make sense that he gets such a long leash because he's Draymond and because he's loud. Now we got to give him a little bit more of a pass. He should be up to the same standard as everybody else, in my opinion.
Now, I would agree with you on that, but, it's the Jordan rules. It's really the Draymond rules when it comes to technicals. He does get a longer leash than everybody else. You know what I'm saying? He can say that magic word a couple times, and the ref's kind of like, well, that's just Draymond being Draymond.
You can hear it on the broadcast. He's out there just calling him whatever he wanted to call him and saying whatever he wanted, Brandon Ingram, the whole team, and there was no technical there that made no sense to me. He's chirping at Herb Jones. He's sitting there just looking at him. Then he's yelling at Steve Kerr on the bench. Nothing. There's no technicals, nothing.
No, Steve Kerr would absolutely love to get rid of Draymond Green. As a matter of fact, Bill Simmons from The Ringer said that he thought that he could see a Draymond traded to Dallas, and then LeBron follow Draymond to Dallas, and you have Kyrie, Luka, Draymond, and Braun in Dallas, probably for a year. You know what I'm saying? Until Bronny makes his NBA appearance. You know what I mean? But listen, I'm just saying what Bill Simmons said. But I do think that Draymond and Steve Kerr is probably like, okay, I don't have to do this no more. Steph, this is your man.
Bro, how old is Draymond? Draymond, 33, 34 years old, a veteran in the league. Like, when does it stop? Like, I get that's your personality. You're the tough guy. You're the enforcer. You have to be the heart and soul of the team. But at some point, when does this shit stop? You punching teammates. You're going and arguing every single game with every single player. You down-talk the refs. You down-talk your coach. You down-talk your other players on the team. I get the intensities there, but, bro, you're a veteran in the game. Like, at some point, that's got to – I get it. Like, as an athlete, as a supreme competitor, you're that guy. We all know that, Draymond. But at some point, that shit's got to end. The tough guy got to end, bro.
He said to Kevin Durant, basically, I lost it in the moment. Here's the thing. If you can say that you lost it in the moment, you cannot lose it in the moment. Like, you got that kind of sense to know that you lost it, then you got the kind of sense to know not to lose it. So I agree with you. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mind the NBA goon, the NBA tough guy. But when you start, it's come on. I mean, it's like
who plays that role really well.
That's your teammate. Who's that?
Udonis Haslem, bro. Plays the role
perfectly.
A
scary man.
Scary. You don't ever hear from him. You don't hear from him. If he gets a technical, it's on purpose. It's well pinpointed, and guys don't mess with him on his own team. Like, that's the type of leader I think that Draymond needs to be, because whether he goes to Dallas and plays with LeBron, nobody can get it under control. He shoot away KD. Like, it's bad right now for Draymond Green. I think the Draymond we see on the podcast is different, but it's like on the court, bro. Like, you got to get that shit under wraps.
Yeah, listen, it's I got a love-hate relationship with Draymond, mostly love, but I can see why the criticisms about his style of playing, his attitude, a lot of it is warranted. I'm not going to go against that. Remember that last year, Udonis Haslem got in a game at the end of the season and immediately got teed up.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he knows when it's coming with Udonis Haslem. He knows
that is not Udonis Haslem is not an individual that I would play with. You know what I'm saying? That's not.
They actually showed a clip. It was Steven Jackson. I watched it. It was a TikTok I saw. Steven Jackson was on the bench and he was talking shit to Charles Oakley. Charles Oakley was like, boy, if you don't sit your ass, like, there's a few tough guys, real tough guys.
Guys. Yeah.
Udonis Haslem, Charles Oakley, those guys are them.
Yeah, those are there. It's nothing Dylan Brooks about those guys. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks mixed it up with they had a friendly thing earlier this year was Kyrie Irving. And listen, I am a Kyrie Irving supporter. I supported him through the vaccine thing. I supported him with this latest thing, you know what I'm saying, that took place in the Brooklyn Net organization this year when he tweeted out that link, whatever. I'm not Jalen Rose. I didn't say, condemn Kyrie, and then when it was cool to support him, come back and support him. I'm a real cat. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Do a deep dive on Jalen Rose and some of his things. He should really watch out how he's talking about people. I didn't like the way that came off. Anyway, either here nor there, I had to go in on Jalen a little bit. But Kyrie Irving,
being a little fake, huh? Like the hairline?
Yeah, exactly. Being fugazi, like that spray-on hairline. You know what I'm saying? Bought and sold. Anyway.
I need to get some of that.
Me too. You know what I'm saying? Now, Kyrie Irving, I'm a supporter. Love Kyrie Irving. I'm from Harlem. You know what I'm saying? Kyrie's from Jersey. He's just the quintessential New York point guard. Kyrie is the man. But the back and forth with the fans and having fans ejected from arenas, it's got to stop. It's ridiculous. You're on a Dallas Mavericks team that's fighting to get into the play-in tournament. You shouldn't be worried about what the fans are saying. And then Russell Westbrook also, if I was to tell you that somebody got a fan ejected, you would say, oh, it was either Russell Westbrook or Kyrie Irving. And you'd be 100% correct. Oh, he called me rest brick. Well, you can't shoot. You're going to be the reason why the Clippers get bumped in the first round. Oh, he called me a flat earther. Worry about what's going on the court. Because you see, he looks mentally tough. And I know Kyrie is not mentally weak. He hit one of the biggest shots in NBA history. So you can't deal with a heckling fan. I'm not buying that. Stop being so soft and sensitive.
Yo,
you
Kyrie,
let Shannon Sharp verbally assaulted an entire team and family members, and then he came and sat his ass right back down there, and you putting working fans out? That's ridiculous.
Look, Kyrie, man, he's different though, because I don't mind it, right? If the fans are going to talk shit, at least if I come up, my name's Kyrie Irving, I'm like, hey, what you got to say and you don't have nothing to say? That's a whole different story.
That's
now,
the
one player when you talk about when Russ does it, he seems very pointed when he does it. It's like he makes it over dramatic. Kyrie's like, hey, you want to say something? What's up? Westbrook is just shouting and screaming and doing all this other extra
kids. He's talking to kids. Come on, man.
So for me, but he did. Hey, we got to give Russ props. He had a monster game last night. Probably one of the best pictures we've seen all season of him just laying on the floor, screaming his ass. I'm like, Russell Westbrook to me, man, it's a little OD what he does at times. I get it. I got to respect what he did in the past, but on this Clippers team, he is going to be a little bit of handcuff. Now, this is a situation, though, for Russ. A perfect situation with Paul George out. He gets the elevated role. This is when we see a better Russell Westbrook. Somebody that's probably not going to be chatting with the fans the whole time. Somebody that's focused on basketball. Dropped 36 last night. A really good performance.
Yeah, and that's, to me, those performances from Westbrook are going to be few and far between. Mark my word. He will be the reason why the Clippers are eliminated in the first round. They messed that team up when they brought him in there. He's not. I've been very critical of him. He's not a winning player. The fact that he's one of the NBA's top 75 all time, that's ridiculous.
No, you're doing too much. He was top 75 because he did before he became a third piece.
The triple
Russell
double
Westbrook, the triple doubles. No, he was leading that team in the West every single year.
In the West to where? In the West to where? To the first round?
Best record. They had the best record in the West when he was leading that team.
Kevin Durant was leading that team.
Guess what happened when he got traded to the Washington Wizards? They went from obscure to in the playoffs
to the 8th seed. They made a run to get to the 8th seed. You acting like they took the Wizards to the conference finals. They was the 8th seed because he went on a run.
You got to give Westbrook more props. You got to stop hating on him. Right now, this is the latter stage of his career. He's not going to look the same. He's not the main focus anymore. But what he did in his career, yes, that's top. How many other players average a triple-double in a season? Let me hear.
Nikola Jokic. A center, for Christ's sake.
We gonna throw him in the top 75 or something. We gotta give Russ his props, man. I don't care how many box outs Steven Adams is doing for the little easy rebounds. You still gotta give Russ his props.
Russell Westbrook. Yeah, I said it. Would you go have me removed from the game?
Westbrook. I'm gonna have you removed from the shows. Messing up his name all the
time. Speaking of Nikola Jokic, right now, even money, 110 to 110. We got a true toss-up in the MVP race in the NBA this season. Listen, I'm just going to keep it a buck with you. I don't want to see Sutton win it 3 times, not because of the reasons Kendrick Perkins gave, but because I think Joel Embiid deserves to win one of these years because I think he's been the man. Listen, I'm on Embiid. I'm an Embiid supporter. I thought Embiid should have won last year despite him getting hurt down the stretch. I'm going with Embiid right now.
If Embiid wins this year, it's a participation trophy. That's it. It's the sentimental trophy because we didn't give it to it before, and we're not giving Jokic 3. Hey, they had a matchup. Denver Nuggets, Philadelphia 76ers. And guess what Embiid did? All that smoke he was talking, and he wasn't on the court. Yet and still, there was Nikola Jokic. I'm sure dealing with some kind of injury, still playing. Embiid, that was the one chance for you to go in there. I know you dominated the matchup earlier. That was the opportunity to say, hey, it's the second half of the year. This is an important win for our team. We need to go out there and get it. Go play hurt. And guess what? He didn't. He didn't show up.
And listen, this time of year, a superstar in this league Joel Embiid might be the most important person in this NBA tournament, him and Steph Curry. Those are the two players that if they go down, their teams don't have no shot.
What if Jokic goes down? Denver's
when
nothing.
Jokic go down, Denver still got some dudes that can give you some fire.
Denver is nothing without Jokic. We see Maxey, we see Harden, we see Tobias Harris. That Sixers team is good without Embiid.
James
They've won
Harden,
games without
dribble,
Embiid.
Step back, shoot. Yeah, they have, not in the postseason. Listen, if I'm Doc Rivers, this is an interconference game. It might as well be an exhibition. We getting ready to go into the tournament. I'm not worried about the Denver Nuggets. I'm worried about the Boston Celtics, Milwaukee Bucks. And so I don't mind sitting the big man.
Embiid was already talking. He said, you know what? I don't care about this award. If I don't win it, I'm not two-time, whatever. He was bowing out of the competition.
Yeah, whatever.
Embiid said, I'm done. He's out. MVP is Nikola Jokic.
We'll see how it plays out. Change it up right quick. Talk a little fantasy football. Interesting. Trevor Lawrence will be getting a new weapon this season. He is a former weapon. Calvin Ridley is, now a member of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Agent
Ridley
Zero
was in this wide receiver one territory before that last season. He is an emerging star in this league. He's going to be playing with a quarterback who's an emerging star. I'm sure that offense is going to use him as a true WR1. Would you draft him in your top 12 wide receivers?
Shout out to whoever was in the live chat and asked this question. So if you guys got questions about fantasy, you talking to two of the best in the industry, make sure you guys drop them. We'll get you the answers. One of the best and one that's mediocre right here.
The one that has fantasy in his name.
Fantasy God, I got fantasy trophies. That's all that matters. Getting them wins, baby. But my guy Calvin Ridley, man, I'm not ready to call him a top 12, top 15, top 20 receiver. I want to see it with Calvin Ridley. And a lot of what he was doing early in his career was volume-based there in Atlanta, where Matt Ryan had a tendency to force feed his wide receiver one at the time, and it was Calvin Ridley. Even alongside Julio, he was having very strong seasons. But with this team, they found a guy last year in Christian Kirk. They found a guy in Evan Ingram. And I think Trevor Lawrence, for as much as he's going to develop as a passer, is going to spread it out more than anything. I don't think he's going to force feed Calvin Ridley. Can I see him having 1,000 yards, being a back-end wide receiver too? I think that's the best case scenario for Calvin Ridley.
I think he's more talented than a back-end wide receiver too. I think you get him out there and you get him on the field, and I think you'll notice a difference between him and Christian Kirk and between him and Evan Ingram. And, I kind of look at him kind of in like an Alshon Jeffrey role in that Peterson offense. He can stretch it. You know what I'm saying? He can go get it as well. I'm going to say here's the thing. I want a discount on the player because I haven't seen him. Yeah. But I do trust the talent. But I don't want to pay full price because why should I have to? I'm the fantasy exec. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to pay full price for a dude I ain't seen in a year.
I was going to say, because you talk a lot of mess about Trey Lance, who hasn't played football in so long. Why are you so high on
Trey Lance? Ain't played since college.
Why are you so high on Calvin Ridley?
We've seen Calvin Ridley be successable in the National Football League. The only thing I've seen Trey Lance do in the National Football League is throw scheme passes in preseason.
Calvin Ridley 2 years ago.
Trey Lance can't play.
Calvin Ridley was
Trey Lance can't play.
He sat out a year. How are we giving Calvin Ridley this pass? Calvin Ridley hasn't been good at football in over 2 years.
Julio Jones in the NFL. Trey Lance couldn't beat out Brock Purdy. What are you talking about? It was a wasted draft pick. It was a wasted draft pick.
Give Calvin Ridley for being hurt. You got to give it to Trey Lance. So when I look at Calvin Ridley,
Calvin Ridley's playing in the NFL.
Calvin Ridley's going to be one of 3 options on this Jacksonville Jaguars team. So if you have him, even if you thought he was the wide receiver one for this team, which I'm not sure that he's going to even get that. If you thought he's the wide receiver one for this team, there still really isn't 1,500 yards, 1,300 yards to go around. Touchdown wise, there's not a lot to go around either. So maybe you give Calvin Ridley 1,008. I think that's a strong season for him. That puts him firmly in the wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 category.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like I said, I'm in the high 2 because of the talent. But am I going to want to pay a high 2 price?
All right. So here we go. Would you rather have Calvin Ridley next year or Keenan Allen? PPR.
I would rather have Keenan Allen. It's the safety of Keenan Allen, but and Keenan Allen is free in drafts. Really, people don't draft Keenan Allen.
Would you rather have Keenan Allen or would you rather have T. Higgins? Would you rather have Calvin Ridley or T. Higgins? Sorry.
T. Higgins.
Would you rather have...
Well, the Bengals saying they're not going to trade. Where are they going to find this money to pay T. Higgins, Joe Burrow, and Jamar Chase? You got 2 Hall of Famers on that team in Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. And they got to trade
Hall of Famers? Did you already crown Jamar Chase as a Hall of Famer?
Jamar Chase is a Hall of Fame
You
talent.
crowned Joe Burrow as a Hall of Famer? How?
Joe Burrow's a Hall of Fame talent.
We've seen Hall of Fame start. They got to finish their career. We're not calling these guys Hall of Famers already.
And Joe Burrow is a Hall of Fame talent.
He's not a Hall of Fame talent yet. He's had a Hall of Fame start.
Okay, both of them had a Hall of Fame starts. Okay, we can say that.
I'll give you that.
We're not
talking Hall of Fame careers at second year in the league. Miss me with that. We ain't doing that.
Otherwise, we would have had Trey Lance can play. Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, spare me. You know what I'm saying? Trey Lance can play, but Joe Burrow is not a Hall of Famer.
Last one. Would you rather have Calvin Ridley or Brandon Ayuk in fantasy?
Yeah, I've never been a really big Brandon Ayuk guy. I would take the shot with Calvin Ridley.
Calvin Ridley or Amon-Ra St. Brown?
I like Jameson Williams a lot, so I would go Calvin Ridley.
Ooh.
The Detroit Lions need to go get Lamar Jackson.
They need something because with Jameson, with St. Brown, if they're able to add like a D-Hop to that, they could probably get D-Hop for a third.
You still think DeAndre Hopkins can play?
I know DeAndre Hopkins can play. I still think he's
why was he using performance enhancers?
Who knows? He said he didn't know that he was what he was using. Who knows what actually happened? If he did know, if he didn't know. I think DeAndre Hopkins is still that guy. It's just he's not going to get the volume because he's older now. So he has to get the volume, and I think other receivers are younger. They've kind of taken his place. But if he goes to a team like Detroit, he goes to a team that does need a wide receiver one, I think we still see elite prime DeAndre Hopkins. I don't think he's out of his prime yet.
All right, here's the deal. Speaking of not knowing the story, Deshaun Watson, he was bad when he came back.
Yeah.
Oh, he was rusty. No, he was bad.
He was bad.
Because you can get rid of rust in 3 or 4 weeks. He was bad down the stretch last season. His fantasy, he's going to be a steal in drafts. Is he worth it?
I think Deshaun Watson will be back next year. Top 12 quarterback for sure, with potential for a lot more. Deshaun Watson is in.
You would draft Deshaun Watson as a top 12 quarterback? I
would not draft. I would let him fall to me, and I would value him in my own valuation as a top 12 quarterback at minimum. Deshaun Watson does play in Cleveland, which gives me a little bit of caution, right? We talked about Chicago on the show. We talked about Philly. Cleveland's another one of those places, especially in fantasy playoffs, where you don't want to have guys playing in the snow and heavy winds. They happen to do that. But this team's also talking about expanding their air attack, just going and trading for Elijah Moore. Already with Donovan Peoples-Jones, David Bell, and of course, Amari Cooper. And they went and signed another burner too. I forgot who they just traded for another burner too. Some other speed guy, Marquise Goodwin. So they're adding to this aerial attack right now. The Cleveland Browns, to me, are clearly sending the message that they want to emphasize the passing game. They committed $250 million to Deshaun Watson. They got to get their money's worth. Nick Chubb is probably out of there getting traded at some point here. I think they go full aerial attack. Player. Deshaun Watson, I would be willing to put Deshaun Watson in my top 7 quarterbacks next year if we see a strong showing in the preseason.
Deshaun Watson or Tua, considering Tua's healthy and the starter.
I would take Tua.
Deshaun Watson or Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, a New York Jet.
Deshaun Watson all day. Not close.
I would say it's close.
I would say it's not close. Aaron Rodgers hasn't really been a fantasy relevant quarterback in a few years.
Neither has Deshaun Watson.
Well, one of them is getting massages. The other one is just kind of mid.
Jimmy Garoppolo, Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun, easy. Yeah, Deshaun.
I would. Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson.
Deshaun, easy.
Russell Wilson going to be in different offense this year.
Deshaun, easy.
Deshaun Watson, Dak Prescott.
This is the territory. I probably would still take Deshaun Watson.
Neither. Deshaun Watson or Daniel Jones.
Deshaun Watson all day.
I would take Daniel Jones.
You just like it's the floor, right? You just like the floor. And
I think
is it Daniel the floor? Or do you think Deshaun Watson won't be back next year?
I don't think Deshaun Watson. I don't know. I gotta see it, bro. I'm not sure because he looked real bad at the end of last year. Daniel Jones give you some rushing yards too. I'll take Daniel Jones. If I miss on him, I miss on him. Obviously Sam Howell, Jared Goff is nothing. You'll take Fields over him, honestly. Derek Carr, I would take him.
Watson,
yeah. It's nobody.
It's right there in that Dak, like Trevor
Trey Lance or Deshaun Watson. Let me just make sure you're not bump your head.
I gotta see. Ask me in August. Right now, I gotta take Deshaun.
Neither one of them has played, but at least Deshaun's gonna be the starter.
I'm taking Deshaun right now. Trey Lance in August, probably.
Geno or Deshaun?
Deshaun for the upside. We saw the best of Geno last year.
So we probably do see Deshaun Watson be a top 12 drafted top 12 in fantasy. As I look through the quarterbacks, I'm like Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Because I'm worried about Hurts because I don't like Hurts losing his whole coaching staff.
Well, I don't like paying the cost after they've already exploded. Like for quarterbacks, once they've already hit the peak, there's no point in paying for them because all there is regression to the mean. Like a lot of times they play a little bit worse. So Justin Fields, for all the excitement he had last year, I don't think he even uses his legs as much as he did last year, and that was a lot of his value. So I feel like Deshaun Watson's gonna be in that Trevor Lawrence, Dak Prescott type range, like probably in the back end.
I would take Trevor Lawrence over him. Trevor Lawrence, Daniel Jones, Justin Fields, and Josh Allen are probably my fantasy quarterbacks next year.
I'm out. I'll probably be like that Tua range, like Tua, Trey Lance, Deshaun Watson as my one, Daniel Jones, like that's the range I'll be in as my one. That back end top 12 to like 15 range.
And I would also
like Kirk Cousins. You could pair up Deshaun Watson with Kirk Cousins, or pair up Deshaun Watson with another one of those quarterbacks, and now you're solid. You got the upside and you got the safety play.
You know who I'll probably have some shares of? Jordan Love. I think he can play.
But I
think I would go into the season. He's a starting quarterback.
You would not have him as your one. You take Jordan Love as your QB1 in a 12-team league.
I would have somebody there with him, like a Jimmy G or something. Like I would make my quarterbacks my last two pick, and I would take like Jimmy G and Jordan Love, and I would.
What kind of season you think Jordan Love can have? Right, like obviously he's not the super mobile guy. He's more of a thrower. He's got some solid weapons there in Green Bay. What kind of, if you had to project out, yardage total, touchdown total, what do you think he can get? Like 4,020?
Yeah, I think he's over a 4,000 yard passer with those options. I think he can throw you 25 touchdown passes. I think he can even give you a little bit in a little bit of rushing yards and points as well. Can he run for 60 yards a game?
I mean, it's not out the realm of possibilities. So like Jimmy G with a little bit of rushing upside.
Yeah. I think Jordan Love. I think
upside though. I
think Jordan Love can play.
I think he can play too, but I don't think I would take him as like a top 15 quarterback. I think he's somebody I would get if I had a stronger QB1. I would take him just as a flyer later on.
I'm not a dynasty guy, but how would you evaluate Jordan Love for dynasty?
Dynasty, I think if I was trading a draft pick in this year's draft, I would trade as much as an early second for Jordan Love because I think that he would be one of the better quarterbacks in this class. Maybe if I was desperate, late first, but probably an early second is about the capital I pay for Jordan Love.
So say the quarterback on your rosters are Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers or the quarterbacks on your roster. You are pick 11 in your draft. Would you trade that 11th pick in the first round to get Jordan Love?
More than likely, yes. Because I feel like he has at least a 3 to 5 year window of being a solid, at least a high upside QB2 at minimum over the course of that time. So I believe in Jordan Love. I've been trying to acquire Jordan Love on the low, to be real. Like in my dynasty leagues, I've been sending out low ball offers, like back end second round picks for him, and people are holding on. So back in seconds, because that's where the winners pick. If you didn't know that, that's where you have the last pick. I also see
that you can't get your deals done either.
Yeah.
So that's a problem.
I get deals done. That's why I win all the time.
That's a problem right there. You can't make no trades. You can't get your deals done.
I believe in Jordan Love.
Can't go get the guy that he's targeting. You know what I'm saying?
Buy low seasons here. I just got Trey Lance in a few leagues.
That's buying extremely low. You just bought somebody that's not going to play this year. That's a deal. Well, he'll be traded. Maybe he'll be the Commanders quarterback.
Oh my gosh! Here we go. Do you think that affects Christian Watson's value at all? Like we saw him really come on towards the second half of last year. You think Jordan Love can help him sustain that? Yeah. Or are we gonna have to bite the bullet a little bit on Christian Watson now?
I think Jordan Love helps him. I'm more optimistic about the Packers offense this year than I was going into last year. I just thought Aaron Rodgers needed to change the scenery. I think the Packers needed to change the scenery, and I think Jordan Love's ready to go.
Yeah, to be real, it wasn't like Aaron Rodgers was some supreme quarterback in that offense. He was throwing for like 4,000 or 4,500 yards anyway. He wasn't having no 5,000 yard seasons in that offense. So Jordan Love might be a spark. He might be the guy that actually performs better fantasy wise.
I would not write the Detroit Lions in as the NFC North champions just yet.
Oh yeah,
I think it's still going to be a fight. So, all right, my good brother.
Yes, sir.
My man, Justin Henry.
We'll be actually. I'm about to head to Arizona, my man. I got my son. He's 12 years old. He's playing in a national tournament, bro. Like he's a baller, AAU tournament. So I'm sure next week, spring break. Some of you guys have kids that you watch the show. You guys, spring break. We're gonna be doing some fun stuff, some mock drafts, getting into a little bit of the other stuff. We'll have a little bit of a dry week next week. Not a lot going on sports-wise outside of the Final Four, national championship, and then play-in will start. So we got a little bit of a window there, Corey. We can get some mock drafts in.
No doubt. Looking forward to it. And hopefully you'll try to steal my strategies. And we will be in the league together this year. And
and I'm going to dominate like I always do.
And you will definitely get – now listen, it costs to pay with the fantasy executive. It's no free league.
How much you playing for?
It costs to pay with the fantasy
executive.
How much you
playing for? You tell me the amount, and I'm sending it.
All right, there you go right there.
Open buy-in, write your check.
There you go. And all right. Yo, for Justin Henry's Corey Paulson,